Jack, the history of Iran is that they have used these ceasefires or pauses to do the exact same thing, to restock not only themselves, but to resupply their proxy, like Hezbollah or the Houthi rebels in Yemen. And it sounds like we are doing the same thing. So do both sides just recognize this as a, stop, take stock and resupply, and then we'll go back at it? Or do you think this really has something productive that can come out of it?
Well, I certainly agree with the assessment there, but I would also say that what I'm looking forward directly to, or focused on, I should say, is this meeting in Islamabad that's meant to take place here. We're hearing reports that Vice President Vance may actually lead the delegation personally. They're looking, of course, obviously security is going to be a huge premium for something like that, having a high-level U.S. official be on the ground so close to the actual fighting, just right across the border from Iran itself. Witkoff, Kushner as well going over for this delegation. So if those talks go well, I think what you would then see is possibly some kind of deal hammered out, a grand deal, which I think is what the president is calling for. But at the same time, as you state, if something goes wrong, we could go right back into this very quickly.
Well, President Trump said that, Jack. He put it on Truth Social last night, talking about what could potentially happen if Iran does not agree. And I'll show that to you now. He says all U.S. ships, aircraft, and military personnel with additional ammunition, weaponry, and anything else that is appropriate and necessary for the lethal prosecution and destruction of an already substantially degraded enemy will remain in place and around Iran until such time as the real agreement reached is fully complied with. If for any reason it is not, which is highly unlikely, then the shooting starts bigger and better and stronger than anyone has ever seen before. What do you read by this commander put out by President Trump? I mean, obviously, this is a stark warning for Iran, but it doesn't appear to be that Iran is listening. What will it take?
Well, I think at this point, what you have to look at is another advantage that I would mention into us getting ready for what may be the next phase is that if Iran tries to do the same, we have an advantage of surveillance. And we want to pick up through their command and control nodes that are left and also observe what are they trying to rearm and restock, because that just makes for a brand new set of targets when we have to re-engage. Right now, I'm not optimistic for the ceasefire itself, even with a high-level delegation with the vice president leading it, because look at what Iran's done. 47 years of lying and murdering. Right now, the Strait of Hormuz is still essentially closed to traffic, except for the fees that they have to pay to Iran and who gets to go through governed by them. That should never happen in any international maritime body. Freedom of navigation is a cornerstone of the global economy, and we have to ensure, the U.S. has to ensure with others, that that can happen.
Yeah, and as you noted properly, that is a change from what had been happening before. Iran didn't control it, and they weren't charging tolls, and that's happening now. Jack, let me ask you this, though. I still can't figure out who or how we know who the heads of Iran are. Everybody seems to have been taken out.
Vance is dealing with.
Yeah, so they may be dealing with some people, but how do we know they have the power? How do you determine that?
Well, I think that's one of the biggest questions for the intelligence community right now, whether it's between CIA or between whatever intel sources that the Israelis have. Of course, they have incredible networks within Iran itself. That's how they were able to determine where the meeting would take place, the fact that the supreme leader would be at his home when he was there, and they knew about it beforehand with these other senior leaders. So they do have intelligence on when the senior leaders are meeting. They have intelligence on how command and control flows. And in fact, it's gone to such a level that I saw Axios had a report that the new supreme leader is communicating by handwritten letters because he's so concerned that his electronic communications could actually track him down. But ultimately, by the way, I also want to say that the other key player in all of this is China. And I know for a fact the administration is interfacing with China, preparing for this May 14th meeting. And we know that China is, again, a key leverage influencer when it comes to Iran itself. So I wouldn't discount Beijing as well as being able to put a check on whoever's in power.
I'm Sean Kreisman. For stories and content just like this, check out National Report weekdays 9 to noon, only on Newsmax.